Well, the Biden campaign is continuing its focus on abortion rights as the president visits Tampa, Florida today. His visit to the state comes weeks after the state Supreme Court ruled in favor of a 6-week abortion ban. But that court is also allowing people to vote on a measure that would allow abortions until a baby can survive outside of the womb, which is around the 24th week of pregnancy. Last night on America Decides, Caitlin Huey-Burns asked the Biden campaign's communications director whether the issue is actually an advantage for the campaign in states that were typically out of reach.
Yes, it's going to matter in states like Florida and states like Arizona, but frankly, it's going to matter in every single state across this country, because if Donald Trump returns to power, he's made it very clear that he's going to do whatever he can to ban abortion across the country with or without Congress. So if you're in a blue state, a red state, a purple state, this issue is going to be on the ballot.
Well, campaign reporter Aaron Navarro is in Tampa covering the president's trip. So, Aaron, as you know, in multiple states, there have been pushes to put some sort of referendum question, abortion rights question on the ballot, whether it's related to the state's constitution or something along those lines. How has the Biden campaign been capitalizing on this momentum?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, this issue of abortion and women's reproductive rights has really been central to the Biden campaign's message lately. But here in Florida, the campaign has argued that the state is now made winnable because of this ballot initiative. And they note that the last time a Democrat won this state in 2012, when Barack Obama won Florida, there was an anti-abortion rights ballot initiative that was rejected and galvanized voters then. But if you look at battleground state after battleground state, the Biden campaign believes that the polling shows that abortion is a core issue for Democratic, independent, and moderate voters. And in the Southeast, where access to abortion is dwindling and only a handful of states, such as Virginia, have access to that kind of Roe v. Wade era type of abortion, it really will galvanize those voters in battleground states like Florida, as well as Georgia and North Carolina, where the margins are probably expected to be closer for Democrats.
And as you know, yesterday was Earth Day. Climate change is sort of a key issue or it was a key issue in 2020, at least, for the Biden campaign. Yesterday, the administration announced all kinds of money going to various initiatives to help protect the environment. But I'm curious about whether or not climate change and the environment is actually, an issue that can sort of galvanize or energize voters now. I know sometimes it changes from week to week to week. Earlier in the campaign, it was all about the economy, and we weren't really talking about abortion. Now, abortion is one of the main issues. What about climate change?
Well, in addition to some of these measures, such as $7 billion in federal grants for rooftop solar projects, to maintaining what Biden promised in that 2020 campaign about acting on climate change, it's also a way to make sure that younger voters remain in his camp. We've seen in the past couple of months young voters, especially more on the progressive side, take issue with how the president has responded to what's happening in Gaza. We've seen in polling at least the share that Biden has with these voters slip a little bit compared to what he saw in his winning 2020 electorate. So measures like this could help galvanize support for young voters. And that's why, in part, you saw the president talk about the climate core, stress that he wants to get young voters trained to work in clean energy. And also why you saw figures that tend to be popular with the young voter population, such as Senator Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with the president yesterday in Virginia at his side and praising his record on climate.
Really interesting. Aaron, thank you so much.